Welcome. My name's Hal. I'm a counselor at Lanakila. Usually I work on the waterfront in the swim department, and I'm quite sad that this year is the first time in a long time that I won't be able to go for a swim in our wonderful lake, Lake Maury. I can always count on a jump in the lake to wake me up in the morning or after rest hour. However, without that as an option currently, I thought we could dive into the refreshing pools of knowledge and historical research. Class is in session. Today we're learning about Samuel Morey, so sit up, get your pencils, and let's begin. Samuel Morey, the Edison of his day. But who was this man really? What made him tick? And how did he become a hallmark not only of the Lanakila Songbook, but also of my heart? Those are excellent questions. Thank you for asking them. Most of us know Morey from his timeless classic, Captain Morey and His Steamboat, found in the Lanakila Songbook and remarkably few other locations. The song recounts his bravery, his ultimate demise, and in an anachronistic twist, it also asks us to imitate the sound of a chugging steamboat. I asked Laura Clark, who has worked at camp for many summers, what she knows about Samuel Morey. Her response? Literally nothing. He invented the steamboat. Allegedly. I was shocked. This is a borderline slander. So, let's prove Laura wrong. What I'm about to tell you might be revolutionary. It might even be controversial. But one thing's for sure. After the next couple minutes, none of you will be able to claim that you know literally nothing about Samuel Morey. And to do so, we need to start at the very beginning. Samuel Morey was born on October 23, 1762, in Hebron, Connecticut, to Israel and Martha Morey. He had quite a few siblings, including Israel Jr., Moulton, Darius, Martha, Sarah, and Willard Morey, listed there in descending age order. He was largely self-taught, as at that time the public education system in rural Connecticut left much to be desired. He learned by doing, often tinkering with farm tools and spare supplies to create small inventions. Such habits were, perhaps in hindsight, telling. As the most important thing you need to know about Samuel Morey is that he is the true inventor of the steam-powered engine. So, as we know, Morey was a great tinkerer and inventor, and he was faced with a problem. Can anyone guess what that was? No? No one? No one wants to even guess? Oh well. Morey's family had moved to the lovely state of Vermont. However, if you think Vermont is rural now, imagine what it was like almost 250 years ago. There were no roads, and the mountains made transportation over land just that much harder. So Morey got to thinking, and realized that if he could create a faster form of water transportation, everyone would be better off. He started drawing up some drafts of a boat engine that could run solely on water and heat. Morey began testing these engines on Vermont's waters, to the delight and ridicule of his friends, family, and neighbors, who would often watch and laugh at him from the shores. He began to test his invention on Sunday mornings when he could count on everyone else being in church, so as to get a little peace and quiet. Finally, after years of hard work, he had done it. He finished his first fully functioning steamboat in 1790, taking a trip to Lake Fairley, about 6 miles from Lanakila, and the home of another Aloha camp, Aloha Hive. However, even though Morey was the first inventor of the steam engine, several other people at the time have tried to take credit for his accomplishments. We'll go through them now. First, James Rumsey. He supposedly invented a boat that took in water at the stern and expelled it out the bow to propel the boat forward, but this was rejected by the U.S. Patent Office. He took his boat to England in 1792 and tried to sail it on the Thames. He died later that year. Another, John Fitch of Philadelphia. Go Birds. He also tried to create a fast boat and made many investments in the stock market to try and finance his venture. However, he lost everything and died shortly thereafter. But there is one more false claimant whose name I shudder to speak. The worst of them all, Robert Fulton. Also known as that person in class who hears you say the right answer, but the teacher doesn't hear you, so then he says the exact same thing but a little louder and gets all of the credit even though he didn't do a single page of the homework. Robert Fulton came from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and spent the majority of his life hanging around his wealthier and more successful friends like Chancellor Livingston, David Bushnell, and Joel Barlow, whom I'm sure you're all very familiar with already. Essentially, if those four were the marauders from Harry Potter, Fulton would have been Wormtail, tagging along and riding off the successes of his more famous and better acquainted friends, but not really doing anything to deserve his position. This group of men went to France to build a boat and sailed it on the Seine in 1803, where it quickly sank. However, upon returning to the United States, Fulton was able to obtain a patent from the U.S. Patent Office for his steam engine and steamboat, the Clermont, several years after Maury had already successfully sailed his boat in Vermont, and despite not having an actual boat of his own that worked. See, Maury had patented components of his steam engine in 1795, 1799, 1800, and 1803, but had not submitted his final entire version. Fulton came back from France in 1803 and quickly put together Maury's constituent parts of the engine before Maury could apply for the patent himself. Thus, Fulton is credited as the inventor even though Maury did all of the work. Maury had patented the last individual part of the engine while Fulton was sinking in a Parisian river. It's just that Fulton was better at navigating the bureaucracy of a patent office. I'm not sure what the moral is there, but let that be a lesson to you all. Before I go, I'll leave you with one final question. Which do you believe? That Samuel Maury is the rightful heir of the steamboat throne, long may he reign? Or that Robert Fulton and the Clermont shall rot in infamy? It's your choice. Thank you all for listening. Have a wonderful day. Skål!